All right, in this lesson for After Effects, we're going to look at adjustment layers and adding an effect to it. So let's go ahead and bring our graphic over, and we're going to look at the soccer game. And I'm going to bring that down, and I'm going to create a composition with that because it's going to have the settings that I want. 854 by 480, and that's the right time, and hit OK. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add an adjustment layer. So there's two ways you can do that. You can right click and you do New Adjustment Layer. You can also go up here to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and this will create an adjustment layer down here. And what we're going to do is we're going to add an effect to it. So let's go ahead and add an effect, and we're going to do blur and sharpen, and then Gaussian blur, and then click on Gaussian blur, and this will bring up our effect controls over here, and we'll just bring our blurriness up quite a bit to where the whole thing looks really blurry. And so what we want to do is we want to just get some of these kids' heads to show up, and now we don't want to blur the whole thing, so that's why we're going to create a mask for it. So what we're going to do is we'll create a shape right now, and we're just going to bring the shape over the child's head, about like that. And let's go ahead and give that a keyframe, mask path. And let's go ahead and go back to our first frame, and I'll put that here. And you can kind of see he bounces around and it doesn't quite match up. Let's go to the very last frame, or the last part where he's at. Let me zoom back out here. Find the last frame where he's at. There's about here. So let me add that mask over here, and then move it to the very end, and I'm just going to move it off the edge. And let's see how this mask does with following. It's not too bad considering I only put down 4 keyframes. But that's what we're going to do is on this project we're going to try to get around, we're going to use the pen tool and try to create a mask around his head and try to animate that whole thing and try to keep it around his head a little bit better than that. So I like to kind of go in between about halfway points and move it in there closer and see if that kind of fixes some of them. I'll go to a halfway in between these two and then move it again and halfway, move it again, try halfway over here. You can see that one's way off, so we'll see how that looks. Not too bad. And then wherever it doesn't match up, you just kind of go in near that frame. If his head's popping out of that frame. And we would also probably want to tighten up, like while it's down here, we'd probably want to tighten up these points. We click on, we can move these points around and get it closer to his head. Like that. Although I probably would have wanted to do that closer, earlier on, so these don't keep getting bigger. But that's kind of what we're doing. I'll go get into more detail on the next lesson, but that's kind of what we're after. So that's the end of this one.